Right now is the perfect time to stimulate scientists and entrepreneurs, big thinkers, to break through the challenges of human aging. If those of us that believe in a better future, if we believe that we can move the science of aging further, faster than it otherwise might, then we will have achieved something very, very positive in our lifetime. My name is Dan Perry. I'm the founder of the Alliance for Aging Research. The Alliance is a not-for-profit public interest advocacy organization in Washington, D.C., fighting every day to try to advance the frontiers of science to address the greatest human challenge of the next 100 years. How can we take hold of our underlying processes of aging and bend it to our benefit in order to reduce the impact of chronic diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's and extend the healthy, vital, vigorous years of life in our own interest and in the interests of our economy and of our world?
My name is Sue PeShon, and I serve as President and CEO of the Alliance for Aging Research. Our work at the Alliance for Aging Research is really focused on sort of the public and the policy components of this area. It's not the easiest thing in the world to explain this type of science to the general public and to policymakers, and that's what we try to do, to make the case that we need to take a look at how we structure funding at the federal level for biomedical research, and also to talk about the promise of this research, that it's not just a pipe dream anymore, and it's an exciting time, and it should be something that has much more support than it currently does.
We are an aging population, not only in the U.S., but really throughout the developed world. And that means that we will see a tremendous increase in chronic diseases that are all driven by the underlying biology of human aging. Diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, vision and hearing loss, musculoskeletal impairments, loss of muscle, loss of bone. All of these conditions will overwhelm healthcare delivery in the decades to come because of the tremendous increase in the populations.
10,000 Americans are turning age 65 each day. And about 80% of those Americans 65 and older are going to have at least one chronic disease, and about half of them will have two or more. So we need some type of an intervention that will not only treat these diseases on a disease-by-disease basis, but try to get to the root of age-related disease in general. And that's really what the promise of geroscience is.
And it's in that area of geroscience where we're getting beyond individual diseases to see the problem behind the problem, the underlying processes of aging that drive all of them as the common target for investment, research, development of therapies and treatments that will change the arc of aging for all humans. To me, it means that we are now focusing upon the latter decades of life. If you look back 200 years ago, when average life expectancy in the United States was only in the 30s or beginning to be in the 40s in the 19th century, you'd have to ask yourself, what would those people think of the possibilities for their children or their grandchildren or their great-grandchildren? And I imagine very few would imagine that by the early decades of the 21st century, Americans would be living to 80 years and beyond.
I think as the population is aging in the United States, there's more and more awareness of the value of aging and, the possibilities of aging. But I think especially with the baby boom generation, 60 today is not the same as it was a couple of decades ago. So I think the importance of the later years has really grown and is no longer necessarily seen as just a period for disability and for dependence on government programs. I think now it's really seen as an opportunity period, a time to sort of reinvent yourself, to re-explore explore things that maybe you did prior to your working years, really take advantage of your passions. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity if, these types of breakthroughs can be successful.
If we can extend the healthy years of life, in effect, if 80 were to be more like what we now associate as 60, imagine what human beings would be able to do with their time on Earth. It would be one of the most transformative, positive developments in human history, and that's what we're aiming for. So the Palo Alto Prize, which seeks to capture the energy and the intellectual power that is coming to a ferment around aging, is in a perfect time and a perfect place. Incentive prizes have played a tremendous role in the development of some of our most important technologies. Everything from the development of longitude for ship navigation, which was an incentive prize offered by the British government 300 years ago, to food preservation through canning, which was a prize offered by Napoleon during his time, to the Lindbergh crossing of the Atlantic in the 1920s. Again, it was in response to someone holding up an award saying, try to do this and we will reward you.
I think that the prize is really key to just raising the profile of the issue of geroscience and the hope of health span. By recognizing that this type of research deserves to be funded, by offering a special prize in this area, it all serves the same purpose as what the Health Span campaign is after, which is really to educate the public, to sort of spread the word, spread the good news about the promise of this type of science, and to try to sort of, change the dynamic of how we view biomedical research in the United States. Well, I do what I do because I was lucky enough to have older people in my life for a long period of time. A lot of people never get to know their grandparents, let alone their great-grandparents. And they taught me a tremendous amount. They gave me a tremendous amount of love and support in my life. And I just think that there's tremendous promise in our later years of life, and that we haven't reached our full potential yet in terms of keeping those later years as healthy as possible for as long as possible.
We believe that by bringing science to bear to modify human aging, there will be a wonderful benefit for our species and for our planet. It's something that I've spent my entire adult life working toward. I know that many of those in the Palo Alto Prize have spent their lives working in this area. It is within reach, and we can do it, and we'll do it more assuredly and faster if we do it together.